Hello. Welcome to Streaming for Atheists. That's what I'm doing. That's what I will be doing. My name is Sidney Winston. Bet you knew that already. Today's a snippet. I think will be started off. Let's see. Firstly, let me introduce myself. There we are. Hello, I'm Sidney Winston. I am an Ashkenazi. I'm an atheist. I hate hypocrisy. I see hypocrisy everywhere. I see society as a society presenting itself, or everybody in society presenting themselves to me, because I look at it, that's all I can really see through. I can give my personal point of view, but everybody wears a mask and everybody plays a game and everybody's pulling some kind of a scam. I fucking hate it. So I don't like people very much. But I like you. You're an exception. I think we need to catch up on what's going on in the news, don't you think? I want to read something. A news article about something that happens. It's happening right now, really. Okay? Let me just find it here. Okay, so it's basically called, the headline, 250,000 new Syrian refugees. Okay. Turks take Efrain city, Al Ghouta, about to fall to Assad. Now, Efrain city is a city in Syria. The Turkish army is taking it from Syria, and Syrian army and the Russian army and the U.S. army and the are sitting right back and doing nothing, while the Kurdish army has to fend for themselves or run away or die. So let's read. The Turkish army and its surrogates took control on Sunday, March 18th, of the Kurdish Efrain city in northern Syria, as some 200,000 Kurds fled the town of 1 million inhabitants. It is unclear what happened to the Kurdish YPG militia holding the town against the Turkish invaders and their local surrogate, the Free Syrian Army. Some say they withdrew and mingled among the constant stream of refugees fleeing north towards areas under Syrian military control. Others that the YPG is regrouping for a counteroffensive, but meanwhile Turkish bulldozers knocked over the statue of a Kurdish hero in Efrain town center, and surrounding buildings were arrayed with Turkish flags. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan could boast that his army had taken control of Efrain city, although it took nearly 2 months to complete Operation Olive Branch and achieve its objective of expelling the leading Kurdish party and militia from one of its main cantons in northern Syria. The US and Russia went through the motions of trying to dissuade Erdogan from this path to avert the major humanitarian catastrophe which is now at hand. However, they did not actually lift a finger to stop him. The Turkish president played the game by sending delegations to Washington and Moscow to hear their arguments. But his only objective was to chalk up diplomatic mileage and buy time for his army to reach its goal. The capture of Efrain is proving to be stage 1 of Erdogan's campaign. of expansion. He used the free hand granted him to recruit 30 Syrian Sunni militias for doing his bidding in northern Syria. Now, he has the brass to claim equal standing in northern Syria with Russia and the United States and demand that the two powers give his wishes due consideration. What chutzpah, huh? Absolute chutzpah this guy's got. With the Turks evidently on the march, Press TV's military sources disclose that on Saturday, March 17, U.S. forces based in northern Syria began redeploying to new positions for defending Manbij, another Syrian Kurdish town coveted by the Turkish president. This town is his next target once the Turkish army winds up its Efrain operation. Marine Corps Lieutenant General Kenneth McKenzie, director of the Joint Operations Staff, ordered Marine reinforcements transferred to Manbij and U.S. units based in Iraq to cross the border and head for the Kurdish areas of northern Syria. In another part of Syria, Bashar Assad, like Erdogan, is looking forward to an imminent victory for his army and allies after a month of some of the bloodiest warfare in the civil war. East Ghouta, the last rebel stronghold in the Damascus area, is about to fall. Sunday, as today, a spokesman for the Falak ar-Rahman, the leading rebel group still holding out in the southern pocket of the enclave, said his group was in negotiations for a ceasefire, quote, to guarantee the safety of civilians, unquote. Press TV, they are in fact negotiating for terms of surrender. The insurgents are in a hopeless situation, lacking the weapons for fighting off the air, ground, missile, and artillery barrages aimed at them. They never stood a real chance of winning the day against the merciless bombardment inflicted indiscriminately on the enclave and its inhabitants by the Syrian army with Russian Air Force and pro-Iranian Shiite militia backing. Hundreds of civilians died in the merciless month-long hammering. According to UN estimates, at least 25,000 civilians have fled the enclave in the past week alone, many on foot with their belongings on their backs. Both the Turkish and Syrian presidents remained unmoved throughout by the horrors attending their brutal assaults on the civilian populations of the two enclaves, and the deaths and privations of women, children, the sick, and the wounded. And the world stands by as another 250,000 Syrian civilians flee their homes for unknown destinations. Altogether, it is estimated that the Syrian war has resulted in more than 12 million refugees and displaced persons, of whom 5 million fled across the border. Now, and the world stands by. That stands out. The world stands by. Killing by the hundreds of thousands, and the world stands by. What does it take to make headlines? Do every single one of these people killed, every single one of them, have to be a Palestinian in order for the headlines to be made somehow? Why don't we just swap Kurd for Palestinian? That'll make headlines then all the time, all over the place. See, hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is a rife. Well, all right. So I do want to say hi to Pixie Hey Pixie, look what's going to happen here. I actually have my YouTube chat up on the screen for any interaction that might occur. And now while I got this particular image down there, I want to draw your attention, please, to the Dawkins scale. It's right above my head, right there. Hope you can see it. Now, just to make things absolutely clear, I am a 7 on this scale. 7. 7. All right? Strong atheist. I'm 100% sure there is no God. I'm 100% sure a God is impossible, unnecessary, and purely fictional. So that's the kind of atheist that I am. That's the kind of atheist I am talking to. And those are the kind of atheists I regularly interact with. Hope that's cool with you. Back to this Dawkins scale. Everything below a 7 essentially might as well be a 1. Because if you think, or if you believe, or if you give the God concept any credence whatsoever, any possibility of, even the remotest possibility, or all the 0.00001% chance, there isn't that even remotest possibility that the God concept is anything but fiction. So that's why I say I am a 7. All atheists are a 7. And the only choices there are, in my view, are 1 and 7. Everything in between is nonsense. It's kind of because there cannot be. There either is or there isn't, and there obviously isn't. So right? There's no God. The choices are: there is one, or there isn't one. The answer is there isn't one, because the other choice isn't really a choice. It's just you just are throwing in there a fictional something. So this nonsense about strong theist, de facto theist, weak theist, pure agnostic, blah, 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 bullshit. It's you're either 100% sure that God exists. Like number 1, a strong theist, I do not question the existence of God. I know He exists. That works. Number 7, strong atheist, I'm 100% sure that there is no God. That works. There is no in between. Okay? You can't be half pregnant. You can't be partially pregnant. So that's where I stand on that one. Let me introduce a short musical interlude or something, because I'm pretty sure I had something else lined up, and I'm the anxious, nervous type. So and I'm working here on my own. All my I'm in Canada here, and all my engineers, as usual, are on strike. Everybody's on strike. So that slows the show down a little bit. Now, excuse me while I there we go. We might have to go to a musical interlude. What do you think? I'll see if I can find one for you. That's a good one right there, huh? Yeah, let's go to that one there. Enjoy the music, everybody.
Alright, let's get this little zoomed in here. I can barely read here, and I got absolutely some of the video I did. Atheist shut down Bible school for first and second grade. It's absolutely sad turn of events that we live in this pretty much a world where things like that happen. And here we got some news first. So let's go to the couple of people say nice job. Part is the law on this one. The group was run by school officials on school ground. That is against the Constitution. If you don't like it, get the Constitution amended. You'll need the majority of the Congress, 3/4 of the state to agree. That's incorrect. The Constitution says that we have a right to practice our religion, and the government doesn't have a right to tell us how to practice and such. What to believe, what religion, so it's irrelevant where it took place, who was taking place, who was doing, all that sort of good stuff. The Constitution is being manipulated by people who are pretty much nasty people, groups like the left has pretty much become communistic and atheistic. Very disgusting group of people. I don't know why. I consider myself a classical liberal, but it's unfortunate that that's the way it is. It's the way it is. Someone says atheism was original, like not collecting stamps as a hobby. You mean? Well, you know what? I wish atheism was become communistic and atheistic. Very disgusting group of people. I don't know why. I consider myself a classical liberal, but it's unfortunate that that's the way it is. It's the way it is. Someone says atheism was original, like not collecting stamps as a hobby. You mean? Well, you know what? I wish atheism was just like not collecting stamps. I wish it was irrelevant like that when someone personal in the world. Oh, I don't collect stamps, whatever. But atheism, you don't live by that, John. I'm sorry. Atheism puts its nose in everything. If you just kept your mouth shut about atheism and atheism was in the trash can where it belongs, no one would care. No one would say anything. But you're going around accosting people for their beliefs. That's disgusting. Even if that was... Well, you know what? I wish atheism was just like not collecting stamps. I wish it was irrelevant like that when someone personal in the world. Oh, I don't collect stamps, whatever. But atheism, you don't live by that, John. I'm sorry. Atheism puts its nose in everything. If you just kept your mouth shut about atheism and atheism was in the trash can where it belongs, no one would care. No one would say anything. But you're going around accosting people for their beliefs. That's disgusting. Even if that was true. Well, you know what? I wish atheism was just like not collecting stamps. I wish it was irrelevant like that when someone personal in the world. Oh, I don't collect stamps, whatever. But atheism, you don't live by that, John. I'm sorry. Atheism puts its nose in everything. If you just kept your mouth shut about atheism and atheism was in the trash can where it belongs, no one would care. No one would say anything. But you're going around accosting people for their beliefs. That's disgusting. Even if that was... Well, you know what? I wish atheism was just like not collecting stamps. I wish it was irrelevant like that when someone personal in the world. Oh, I don't collect stamps, whatever. But atheism, you don't live by that, John. I'm sorry. You're without Coca-Cola. What's the problem? Whatever. You open the refrigerator, there's no Coke. But if you open the refrigerator and you're an A-colist and you're like... and you're belittling people with Pepsi. Oh, you have Pepsi in there. Ugh. You're brainwashing, you're mean, and you're this, and it's a fake, and it's not really there, and that's the next step. You're taking it farther than what you're saying you're taking it. And that's why atheism is a religion. It's a religion. It's a lie. Because it's bullshit what you're saying. It's all nonsense. If it was just keep your mouth shut, move on, have a nice life, great. No one would have a problem with atheism. And it's bullshit what you're saying. It's all nonsense. If it was just keep your mouth shut, move on, have a nice life, great. No one would have a problem with atheism, and that's not true, right? People have an extreme problem with atheism because you're deceitful, you're liars, you're hateful, you're abusive. Because you're deceitful, you're lying. Atheism because you're deceitful. It's not true, right? People have an extreme problem with it. If it was just keep your mouth shut, move on, have a nice life, great. No one would have a problem with atheism, and that's not true, right? People have an extreme problem with atheism because you're deceitful, you're liars, you're hateful, you're abusive. So that's the way it is. So have a nice life. Have a nice life. If that's really what it is, have a nice life then. Goodbye. I don't want nothing to do with you. Thank you. Have a nice life. People have an extreme problem with atheism because you're deceitful, you're liars, you're hateful, you're abusive. So that's the way it is. So have a nice life. Have a nice life. If that's really what it is, have a nice life then. Goodbye. I don't want nothing to do with you. Thank you. Have a nice life. People have an extreme problem with atheism because you're deceitful, you're liars, you're hateful, you're abusive. So that's the way it is. So have a nice life. Have a nice life. If that's really what it is, have a nice life then. Goodbye. I don't want nothing to do. Have a nice life. If that's really what it is, have a nice life then. Goodbye. I don't want nothing.
That's hatred. That is top class 100% hatred by this dude who is preaching Judaism. Now, I just have problems with this. I'll tell you why. Jews don't preach Judaism to non-Jews. Jews don't preach Judaism. They don't preach. They invite Jews, only Jews. They don't invite non-Jews to have a taste of Judaism. They don't do that. It's not part of Judaism. It's part of Christianity and it's part of evangelism, but it's not part of Judaism. Now, this guy who's preaching Judaism is not a Jew. He's not a real Jew. He's a fake Jew. What I mean by that is a pretend convert. He's an Irish Catholic. So what he's doing, he's bringing his Irish Catholic attitude into preaching Judaism. But the two don't go together, John. You're wasting your time. Not only that, no real Jew is gonna want to hang out with you for what you're doing. Preaching. Not only are you preaching Judaism on your show, on your channel, but you are spewing hatred, just as we showed, as I played over and over and over again. The hatred that you spew is contrary to your duty, or any Jew's duty, contrary to any Jew's duty. Now, I can prove it to you. In fact, give me one moment while I reach for my tome. If I can find my tome. Oh, I didn't have to reach too far because here it is. I actually have it in writing. John, the Jew, and his duties, by the Hebrew Publishing Company. Alright, so, John, have you been a good Jew? Let's have a look. And have a look to see what the relevant chapter would be. And I would say, part 3, our duties towards our fellow men. Right, and let's go all the way down to injuries, chapter 3, and And how about there? How about right there? Where, sorry. Wrong done by means of words. Shall we investigate a little further, John? Now, it's not Shabbos, John, so you can be watching. You can be learning. I was going to do this yesterday when you wouldn't have been able to watch it, but that would have been cruel. But next Shabbos is another one. Is another opportunity to crush your balls, John. Right. So, John, your duty as a Jew towards your fellow men under injuries that you do towards others. Now, you can do wrong by means of words, John. And I'm going to read. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. 5 subheadings to wrong done by means of words. Now this is a Jew, the Jew and his duties, and I'm pointing out to you how you have not fulfilled anything here. Okay, John, number 1, just as it is forbidden to do wrong by means of dishonest buying and selling, so it is forbidden to do so by means of words. The latter crime is even more serious because no amends can be made, and because the wrong is directed not against one's possessions but against one's person. He who cries to God on account of wrong done to him by means of words is answered immediately. Words, number 2, words spoken with the intention of injuring anyone's feelings are sinful. As, for example, words designed to remind a penitent man of his former deeds, or idle words that send a man on a fool's errand, or raise false hopes, or unwarranted fears in him. Number 3, a word used as an opprobrious nickname for the purpose of insulting anyone is sinful, even if the person to whom the word is applied is unaware of the insult and does not seem to mind it. Number 4, words meant to deceive any human being, even an idolater, are sinful. This applies to false labeling of goods or foods as well as to quote-unquote harmless lies. A half-truth is also forbidden. For example, if one sells an article which is imperfect at its real value, and in saying that it is worth its price, withholds the fact of its imperfection, one is guilty of using words to deceive. And number 5, John, words should not be used in vain. Thus, a person should not invite anyone to dine with him if he knows in advance that his invitation will not be accepted. Nor should a person make an attempt to present another with a gift when he is certain that the gift will be refused. Nothing should be spoken with the tongue that is not also spoken with the heart. Thus, all flattery, sham, and hypocrisy are sinful. John, I'm afraid that you, John Gishala, are one crappy Jew. Oh my God, you're a lousy, lousy Jew. All right, so I'm sorry about that. I kind of got carried away with because hold on. When theists hate on atheists, just stereotypical. I don't mind if somebody says I hate Sidney. I don't even mind. Yeah, if they hate me, even if they hate me because I'm an atheist, if they hate me, fine. But if they hate all atheists across the board, like this guy John has just come across as, that gets to me. That's personal. Say what you like. That's personal. Anyway, Pixie, I'm going to get back to you right now. Let me go and find you. Little foist. Ah, there you are. All right. Let me slide you in, baby. There you go. Okay. Let me read. Let's read what's going on. So, Pixie, you are a 1.5 on a Dawkins scale. Oh my god. Well, hold on a minute. Hold on. 1.5. So that means you're either, I don't know, how's it work? You're 50% convinced that God exists, or you're... Oh, what? How's it work? 75, 50, 25? I don't like calling the divine God. I like the Force. Yeah, but the Force, as you know, is just something that was invented by the writer of Star Wars. Ah, you're very welcome about Syria. Can you believe it? Nobody talks about it. I mean, that is where the United States Army is, the Russian Army is, the Turkish Army is, the Syrian Army is, the Rebel Army is, the ISIS Army, for fuck's sake. And nobody talks about it. Yeah, you're right. You're welcome. Yeah, atheism is not a religion. Of course it's not. You know what? Thank you. Pixie, I like watching war channels, but lately I've been watching these flight channels where they recreate the history of a plane that's about to either take off or is flying or whatever, and has a bad ending or has an emergency ending or something. And some of them are really well done, because what they do is they take the actual cockpit simulation, you know, the cockpit graphic, and then they text out the communications between the ATC, air traffic controller, and the plane, and the pilot or flight officer or whatever. And then they recreate what happens, and then at the end they bring out the final analysis of exactly why everything happened the way it happened. Because, you know, after the NTSB and the flight data recorder and the voice box and all this kind of stuff, after they've gathered all that, they know what goes on, what happens, and make a show out of it. I love that. Just love that. Okay. I was gonna keep this stream going, and hopefully get some participation from the audience. Again, thank you for liking my channel. Please share where you can, because there are things that I'm going to be talking about that people don't talk about. This Syria thing is just one, but I'm a little bit distanced from Syria because I don't really know Syria. But what's in the news lately is the South African government has come out with a plan for the white farmers in the country to be replaced by black farmers, I guess, without compensation or whatever. It's a bit of a hot button topic right now, and it is being covered somewhat. But I have personal experience, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that to my advantage and give the story about what's going on from a more hopefully balanced and non save the white man perspective. Yeah, that's all coming up. Right now I am going to have a cup of tea. That's what I'm going to do. Please, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. If you enjoyed this, please share. Tell your friends. And check in often. Push the notification button on the, next to the subscribe, so that you'll be notified when I do go live. so that if there's anything interesting, you can actually watch a little bit and participate. I always watch the chats, so if you're chatting away there like you are, at some point, unless we're playing a video, at some point I'll pick up on it and we'll be able to run with it. So until next time, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. Liking, sharing, subscribing. I guess that's the way. I guess that's the way we get the word gets around.
Little zoomed in here. I can barely read here, and I'm sure you can't really. Because it's a problem with atheists and atheism, because you're deceitful, you're liars, you're hateful, you're abusive. So that's the way it is. So have a nice life. Have a nice life. If that's really what it is, have a nice life then. Goodbye. I don't want nothing to do with you. Thank you. Have a nice life. But of course, that's not where it's going to be. That's not where it's going to be.
Yeah. You go have a nice life. Bye.